In this exercise, we'll be pointing to a relative file in HTML. To do this, you should have downloaded this clock image and a wrench image, or just have two images. Ideally, they're exactly the same size that you want to use in your project. We have given you links to these images. If you go to the book's repo and find the images, you can control or right-click and choose Save Image As, and just put them someplace easy to find. I've saved both of them into the desktop folder. Now, if you're opening a Codespace for the first time, remember that you'll want to go into the extensions area and install Live Server. And then we'll go and take a look at the index page. So I'll come back to my files and take a look inside index. Our primary exercise here is to change the image source from the cat JPEG, which was part of the template, to an image of our choosing. And so in this case, it will be the clock or the wrench, which has been downloaded into, in my case, onto the desktop. So if you'll look here, you'll see that we should, if I open with Live Server, I'm going to see the cat show up on this page. And that cat picture is located inside my assets folder and then inside my image folder. So my index page is at the root directory, and you can see the cat is stored inside assets and then inside IMG. So I have these directories or these folders that are nested, assets and then IMG, and then there's cat.jpg. Now, if I accidentally point it to cat.ping, I will get a website template with no image because cat.ping does not exist. Only cat.jpg exists. So if I put it back, now my cat shows up again. Likewise, if I forget to point to the assets folder and I just say, go look for an image called cat, again, it's not going to show up. So we have to be very careful and very precise about how we're pointing to relative paths inside our HTML files. Now in this case, what we want to do is swap out this cat for a different image. The easiest way that we have found to do this is to take the file or files and literally click and drag them into the image folder inside Codespaces. And you can see now I have the clock, I have the wrench, and I still, of course, have the cat. I can also see that by dragging and dropping those files into the image folder, I have made some changes. My source control is already showing me that there's 2 pending changes. Before I commit my changes, I'd like to see at least, one of these files in the page. So back out at index.html, instead of pointing to assets, then IMG, then cat.jpg, I can point to clock. Now remember, clock was a ping file, and I'm already getting expertise of Codespaces suggesting to me that I change this to clock.ping, which is really what I should do. But just for the sake of showing things that are broken, if I forget to put the extension in one more time, we will see no image. Okay, I want to drive that point home. So here I do want to make sure I'm using clock.ping, and then now we have a clock showing up that we have selected and have put into the project. I could swap that out and put in wrench instead, just by typing that in, and I'm just pointing to this file. So it's not like we're saving the image on this page, we're pointing to this image from this page. If you can think about it that way, it will help you to be precise in how you're pointing. You always want to include some alternative description. It's a good idea to kind of keep these short and just to the point. So this is just, image of a wrench. And you actually, since it's an alt tag for an image, the idea that it's an image is a bit redundant. So we could just say a gray wrench or something like that. And the alt tag is very helpful for people who are using things like screen readers to kind of navigate your projects. All of that is the bulk of what's in the exercise. However, these changes will not be saved in your repo unless you commit your changes. So I want to make sure I go to version control, and I want to make sure that I stage all of my changes and then give myself a message and then commit and sync my changes. Once my changes are committed, I could go back to my repo on github.com. Okay, here we go. There's my test critical design repo. And you can see my index file has the add images message that I just wrote. And if I look inside assets and image, now I will see the clock and the wrench have been added to my repo on github.com.